Well, Apple Core, welcome back to Bonbons and Nook.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a little while since I've made a podcast. I have not fallen off the face of the planet, but I did fall into going to a lot of gatherings this summer. And what have you been up to?
This summer?
Yeah. How's your summer been?
It's been pretty good on the whole. It's been dynamic in ways that are maybe atypical of the season. This past month has been more introspective than I would have assumed would happen from such warm weather and just opportunity to have so much happen. But there was a good part of the summer, first couple months or so, that really kind of got into gear as well. And I've been like falling into my career really nicely too. I've been starting that up, and that's been feeling really great, and I'm loving every moment of that really so far.
What's one of the highlights there of this emerging career that you're moving into?
Highlights of that? Wow. It's an interesting way to ask that. I've had people come out of a massage, which that's the thing I do. I'm a massage therapist for those who are unaware. And people coming out of the massage, going into it first, not being in a lot of pain or not being able to like feel their body in general. There's like a numbness that's occurred. And coming out of the massage being like, I have a body again that I actually want to inhabit. And I'm just like, that's a great thing to give to someone. I feels like, and to have that such direct feedback with that was so satisfying, and to again also accomplish that in such a kind of intimate manner, because massage itself is it's an intimate practice with people. So it's just the whole recipe making for a wonderful concoction at the end there. People being so out of the gate, and also them coming back later and being like, yes, that lasted for a good while, but then something else happened in life, and as it does, and need more again. But to see the results also then settle into someone's life and not just be like a momentary thing, has also been really great. Yeah, it's been wonderful experiencing one-on-one experiences too like this. It's sort of a customer service gig in a way, where you're trying to help this person out with their needs, but instead of it being in a fast-paced environment where you're seeing tons of people a day, I'm seeing maybe 3, 4, 5 people a day, and for like an hour or so at a time. It's so intimate again, just on that level, not even so much the touch, but more so like the fact that we're just interacting in any way for such a period of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. What was the thing that got you into massage? What was the inspiration?
Massage, it's been around in my life for some time, honestly. I look back on it and I remember being, probably elementary school age, and being interested in massage. I think my mother and my father would sometimes give each other massages. There was a massage book or two around, and I have memories of giving my mother back massage, really liking that. And then as I grew older, I finished college with a degree in audio production from Middle Tennessee State University. And I got the degree, but I didn't quite want to do that for a living. So I figured out right at the end, of course, too, that this is not what I want to do for income. Dang, okay, gotcha. And I had to rediscover sort of what it is I did want. And that was a lonely period of time. There was a point where I was like for 10 years or so in my early adult life where I was single. So touch and intimacy especially with the opposite gender, were pretty sporadic. Also, this was like, I was in Tennessee. I felt very different. I had a full head of dreadlocks at the time. I did not really fit in, and there was a lot of reasons why it didn't line up. So this was a thing that was missing in my life, and massage was this wonderful, healthy, supportive outlet that had these parameters and these boundaries and these container to where it was giving me what I was actually wanting, and not just feeding, I don't know, sexual urges or what have you. It was feeding this very human basic need for physical intimacy. And so, I was really getting a lot out of massage with that. I had this kind of history of always liking massage, and then I went to visit I went to visit the West Coast in 2019. And on that trip, it just kept popping up. Massage just kept popping up everywhere. Either like just casually with people I would meet, we'd do little massage trades and trains, and I would meet massage therapists just randomly, and we'd talk about that for a bit. And it was just this thing where it clicked with me by the end of it, being like, oh, this is a path I could take if I wanted to. And it seems more or less lucrative if I do it right, if I keep my body healthy and all that. And yeah, and so it just sort of lined up. I needed the fresh start anyway. It seemed like a great direction to go in. Knew I would be learning a lot, and I would be surrounding myself with people who are, I don't know, I think massage therapists are cool. Just inherently. Oh, you're a massage therapist? Like that's a cool thing to be. It takes a certain kind of person to be in that role and to do it well, I think. And the characteristics that make that excel are really appealing to me. The compassion, the kindness, the container that you can create, the willingness to meet a stranger and be able to touch them within like minutes of knowing them.
That is pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, that is powerful, especially in this culture, to be able to sort of to hold that power very wisely and compassionately. And it takes a lot of self-discipline with that, and it takes a lot of boundary holding with yourself, and it's just like these just great qualities that like just good human beings tend to have. So so it really was more of a kind of an emotional, psychological need more than a physical need for me. Like, I don't know, I had experienced some physical relief, of course, from massage too, and I knew that there was potential for that going into it. But and I think in school, I would say they really highlighted the physical aspect, healing, healing muscle and taking care of the body and whatnot, and sort of like by doing that, it was helping almost as a what's the wording I want? As a result of this, as a happy accident in a way, it's also feeding these other needs, these psychological needs, these spiritual needs, these, by just doing this one thing to the physical form. So, and that's sort of like the realm I've always been more interested in, even today. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the physical aspect of massage, and actually this current career path I'm in, it feels more like I'm diving more into that physical side of things and really getting something out of it and learning more, and feel competent and manipulating that and helping people in that way. But I still find myself more interested in how touch can affect someone on a psychological level in a positive way. And this, one of the reasons why I want to eventually go into trauma-informed massage practices, where I can ideally be a safe container for people who have experienced negative touch in various ways, and to be sort of a positive reintroduction to touch again, so that experience is becomes beneficial to them instead of damaging. They don't sort of get habituated to healthy touch and what that can look like, and tools to, as much as I can, give them a sense of safety and boundaries and whatnot to fuel that moving forward with their life.
Yeah, it seems like that could be really healing and really powerful for a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
that are in situations.
There's a lot of
like
different
that.
diverse group of people that I think could totally benefit from that.
What's new in your music life with your music projects? I'm curious.
Oh gosh, I mean, within the past few days, writer's block.
Okay, that's honest.
Yeah, I've been very much musically inspired by a lot of things that I'm learning, but I just need words to go with things. It feels like sometimes too, and I don't know. I don't know if it's just being too much in my own headspace, or a lot of range of ideas kind of bouncing around, and I'm also find myself limiting myself in a way, because I'm like trying to create a specific type of art, it feels like, or a specific like realm of expression.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, how do I describe this? Like, I think of artists who are really dedicated to their craft having a certain style and having a certain genre where they sort of reside and swim in, either visually or any other realm of art. Really, they have this sort of thing that they're in, and if they step outside of that, it feels a little unusual, or it can at least. And it's just this mixture of having a broad taste of ideas and thoughts and experiences, and wanting to convey them all, but still remain in this sort of style genre that I'm wanting to be in, which is like, wanting to be mindful and elegant and philosophical and, positive, but not like saccharine, not like, I don't want to be toxically positive. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
Yeah, I want to be life affirming. I want to be inspiring. I want to, I have these standards that I'm setting for myself, and as a result, it feels there's a little bit of a pressure where it's like all of a sudden I'm sort of like it creates its own sort of box. But and stepping outside of the box to a certain extent can feel good, but at the same time, I'm also like, this is not something I want to create, though. It doesn't feel good to me, maybe even. Like, it feels good, yet it doesn't, which is a strange dichotomy to be experiencing. So it's sort of that's the sort of the realm I'm in at the moment, where I'm finding things to express, but they're not really aligned with me, it feels like, at the same time. Or maybe they are, and I just don't accept it. But it's like trying to get the real thing to meet the image, and it feels messy. So I'm just swimming in that for a moment. I'm trying to just let the experience unfold itself and not try to force anything either. At the same time, I think forced art can really be a little bit detrimental. So I'm really experimenting more with just breaking boxes that I've put myself in, musically speaking. So I'm exploring new chords and new chord progressions and more theory and the application of that and how that works. And I've been, just like spending a lot of time with instruments, either a piano or a guitar, and just doodling, essentially. Just playing around with ideas and thinking about how I could make things different and what that sounds like and how to do so without sounding like I'm trying too hard. Or how does it make it sound natural, and how does it make it sound like I'm trying to convey the right emotion that when you hear a certain thing come out. And so it's been great. It's been interesting. That's been a whole fun rabbit hole to be going down to in its own way. So maybe the words then just needed to take a back seat for a moment while I go experiment.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any particular muses that show up in your life?
Yeah, I've been time and time again really overwhelmingly inspired. Or how do I describe this? I've been inspired and also a little overwhelmed by Jacob Collier, who is a fantastic musical genius who is about my age, and oh gosh, his approach to music is it's like expert level, beyond expert level. He's just a master of his craft and of so many different instruments, and arranging those instruments and producing those instruments into the songs. And he does, oh my gosh, it's if you've never looked into Jacob Collier, it's a worthwhile dive.
How do you spell the last name?
Oh, Collier.
To look into that.
I think I've heard a lot of people give, some pretty, he's either like amazing or he's amazing in all the wrong ways. Because he's just also so different in a way. And it's just a little bit, I could see how it would be maybe a slight shock to the system. And, but oh man, I don't know. He's got some amazing imagination and creativity that I just want to soak up. I don't necessarily want to be like him. I don't want to make the same music as him, but there's this, I can't imagine how much time and life and love he's put into his craft, especially when he's the same age as me. Trying to get that it's not the best to compare yourself to someone else. I'm not really trying to do that, but I'm just trying to get like a scope of like from where he came from and where he is now, and seeing how like in the same span of time that I've been alive and he's been alive, in the same sort of time period, and what he's developed in that time, it's just been really amazing to see. And there's a sort of like, oh, okay, I'm like a certain percentage of maybe what that is, and there's so much more I can see that he's exhibiting that I could be doing and growing from. And I'm like, okay. I like having this example because it's pushing me and striving me to make me do more, and which in that process feels enjoyable. I've been making sure that that's true as well too. I just don't want to like force myself into schooling and let's hammer out what the heck he's doing here, but all that. I'm sure I will never really actually be the musician that he is, but it's so cool to sort of reach for that anyway. And it's so he's been a real treasure. Let's see. I mean, lyrically speaking too, I've been really enjoying Hosier. Hosier's a poet. True poetry as well. He's had some radio hits. Take Me to Church. You've probably heard that one. Just because it gets played in department stores and at a certain time.
I try to stay out of department
exactly,
stores.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But I think even that song is still a great song, and there's a lot of his other work where, at least lyrically speaking, he's really conveying some amazing ideas really elegantly. He's got some great musical talent too. He's written in like 5/4 time occasionally. He's got some wonderful guitar licks and riffs, finger picking that I've picked up on a little bit. So he's been a sort of a lyrical muse, something I like if I could strive to reach his level of elegance in his writing, I would love that. That feels really good to me. I find myself doing that from time to time. I feel like I reached that part, or at least in myself, at least,
I've
analyzing my own work kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with some of your songwriting, the lyrics, a lot of your songwriting actually, and so I'm excited to see where that goes.
Thank you. And
for you to bring in these new inspirations, and yeah, it's really exciting. And one of my favorites recently that you've played instrumentally has been Embryonic Journey.
Yeah.
Jefferson Airplane.
That's right. Yeah, that's been that was
such a hard one to play.
Yeah, good finger picking exercise, that one for sure. and different tuning. Do that. It's a drop D tuning on the guitar, which is not something I've experimented with much. So that's been really fun to sort of dive into as well. See what the heck that I can do in that sort of thing. Yeah, it still is fun to play. I play that every now and then. Still, make sure I keep up on my chops with that. There's still that middle section is still really tricky for me sometimes. Still, though, I have to admit, there's a, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk too hard about that though. So I know I'm not perfect at it still. I guess that's a good way to put it.
For anyone that hasn't heard Embryonic Journey, go on Jefferson Airplane. Go on your streaming platform and
giving y'all a homework list of artists and songs to dive into.
It's one of the classic songs of the late 60s, and it has a vibe to it that I just really appreciate. There's something about it.
It's only like 2.5 minutes,
and it's short. Short
and sweet,
and you really do feel like, I mean, the name is very relevant to the way the song feels and how it takes you on this journey. Yeah,
absolutely.
Today is August 30th, 2024. We're about to head into a season change coming up. What are some of the things that you're excited about with fall and with being in Eugene here in the fall?
I was looking at my wardrobe today and thinking to myself, I kind of can't wait to get some more variety out. I can't, I have not been wearing much long sleeves and stuff like that and long pants. And I'm just like, okay, I'd like to bring back some of those styles. So there's that. That was something that was just on my head briefly today. You
have any goals for the fall?
Going to an orchard would be cool.
Oh. Like apple orchard or pear?
Yeah. That was something, an activity that happens in the Midwest, at least for me, in my history, is apple orchards and that sort of pumpkin patches. And
yeah, that's a whole vibe.
That is all. Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty neat.
Get you out in the country a bit, probably too, while you're at it, which is great. I love those outdoor spaces like that.
A lot of opportunities around here for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Some great farms to visit on the edges of town, and
yeah. There's where did I go last year? Oh man, people are gonna hate that I don't know the name of this, but it's an orchard and it's up past Coburg Road. If you go out that way of town, I think it starts with a D. I could be wrong, but they had like peaches that we picked last year and made like peach salsa and pickled peaches, which I think. My partner even still has some
pickled peaches.
Yeah, I would be really excited to pull some of those out. Because I know she still has some. Yeah, we got tons of peaches. It was great. It was so tasty too. They were the real thing. They were so tender, so easy to bruise. Even I would say it was just like there was nothing about the experience that felt like these were manufactured to be mass produced or anything like that. It was, even if they were organic kind of thing, like organic fruit can sometimes just have that feeling of like, oh, this is still like built to last somehow. Whereas these peaches are just like, you pick them off the vine, they're totally organic, but they're just like all like once you pick them, or even if you whatever, it already feels like they're just like slowly rotting.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I need to eat this
ready to
like right now kind of thing.
Yeah. There's no shelf life for these.
Yeah, there's pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Which is
keeps you in the moment.
Yeah, quite. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, right. Can't just be stocking up and planning unless you're pickling like we did, sort of thing. So
speaking of peaches, that reminds me of Country Fair, and I'm curious if you wanted to talk a little bit about your experience at Fair this year.
Sure.
Moments that stand out, or just overall?
This was a great fair for me this year. I felt like I just kept running into people I knew, and which was a different experience than I have had in previous years, where it maybe felt like I didn't know people as much, or know as many people on some level or another, and so I was a bit distanced from the crowd in that way. which is sort of, it has this isolating effect when you're in that feeling while being in such a place like that is strange.
It is. I've experienced it. Like the
Yeah.
first time I went to fair, it was during the day and dropped in, and
Right.
did that experience, and I didn't know anyone, and it was very lonely.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah.
But also very interesting. I was like, what is this?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But-
Don't get me wrong. There's still some excellence to
right.
come from that. But I did not have that isolating experience this year at all. I spent a decent amount of it by myself. My partner didn't come, so I was kind of just doing things and making friends on the fly and running into people enough, and it just kept, anytime I would even just, like, slightly get lonely, I'd bump into someone. It was like that. It was just like, oh, great, here's a little interaction, and then it felt good. And maybe you'd be at something that was happening, so I'd have like someone to be doing this thing with for a moment, and it was just like that. It just kept bouncing around. It was always different people, so it's this great variety of people where this was happening with, and at such a regular interval that I never really felt lonely, which was just great, like that kind of thing. So
Country Fair is a synchronicity engine.
oh gosh, it
When
is
you get in there, it's just
a critical mass of happenstances that create all sorts of
the way you bump into
potentials and
people
connections and-
of all the people there, and you're bumping into person after person that and it's like, how is this happening? yeah it's there's nothing like it, really. I mean, there's things like it, but there's nothing quite like it. It's really special, and I'm glad that it exists, and it always blows me away every year. Like, I'm always just amazed by it.
Yeah.
I'm never like, oh yeah, Country Fair, I know what it's about. It's like it's always kind of changing and
If you think you know,
morphing, and if you think you know, you don't know.
You probably don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's always different.
Are there any stages that you hung out at the most or had great experiences at?
It's funny you say stages, and I'm like, yeah, the piano lounge.
I heard a lot of people talk about the piano lounge this year.
Yeah.
As being, and I remember going by it. I didn't get a chance to hang out at it very long, but I remember it had a great vibe.
Oh yeah, always does, really. Yeah, I love that place. That place is home. That's
nice.
Like that's I was thinking this year at fair too that fair has little slices of heaven, and that piano lounge where you got the pillows everywhere, and you've got that big tree giving you a lot of shade, and you've got this wonderful piano in front of you that you can crawl under too if you wanted to. And
I heard about people crawling under it.
Oh, so good. Oh, please, everyone,
Crawl
if you
under a
haven't done
piano.
that yet in your life, please do that at some point.
I still haven't done it.
Beautiful.
I need to do it.
Oh, it's great experience. But yeah, that's a slice of heaven, at least for me. That and like the Ritz. The Ritz is also a slice of heaven, I think, as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyone that hasn't been to the Ritz yet, go to the Ritz next Country Fair.
Yeah, please do yourself a favor. But so the piano lounge was like, it was like a go-to place. It's like, just if I don't know where to go, we'll just go to the piano lounge. And let's see. Gosh, it's such a whirlwind, right? Oh, I really enjoyed Foople this year. When
Fooble the Dragon,
especially after
Yep.
hours, I did.
For people that don't know what Fooble the Dragon is, how would you explain that?
He is, Foople is a dragon puppet who is your friend, even though if you don't know it yet. He loves you.
Oh, I love that.
His favorite food is probably something rainbow sparkly ice cream, something.
Does he like blueberries and grapes?
I'm sure he does.
Blueberries here, if you'd like them.
Gosh, yes, you do.
Freshly picked.
I bet if you asked him, he'd be like all over it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's just excited about life and wants to love you and help you and tell silly stories and be silly and just be a very lighthearted joy to be around.
And he's equally good for kids as well as adults.
Yes, he has a kid act, which he does during the day,
Right.
and then at night he stays up late and has his own little booth, kind of near the Ritz, where people can just go up and ask him stuff. Q&A with Foople.
Fooble's great.
And yeah, there was some good stuff this year. I saw someone do a performance with Foople where let's see, they were doing playing a saw with a bow, with a violin bow. You know how that
I've heard that. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
so they were doing that, and they were doing it really well, I would say too. There was like a quality saw or something that was making it happen really well. And then of course Fupo was beatboxing on top of that. So it was this puppet dragon who's all, got this vibe going, and this saw player just having a little too wet for a moment.
Was it a woman playing?
It was. I'm trying to remember her name.
Was she from Hot Damn Scandal?
Oh, maybe.
Because there was a saw player that was a woman in a band, Hot Damn Scandal, that was just at the Olala Americana Music Festival that I was at. And I've never heard a saw played that way. It was amazing. So I'm guessing that's and I know they go to country fair, so that it might have been
Could
her.
well be. Yeah.
So I saw that. I might have seen that same saw just recently.
Right. Cool. Very cool.
Super good.
So that was a great moment with him. There was also this like moment that really, it was a much more wholesome moment where someone came up with a really sensitive sort of question. Kind of, he almost was like, Fupo, I almost want you to be a therapist for a moment. And Fupo was like, I'm not a therapist. Know that.
Disclaimer.
But sure. What do you like? What do you got? Disclaimer. I'm not a therapist. But also, what do you got? And the question was something along the lines of, I know that it's really good to be empowered. It's really good to sort of have a sense of strength in yourself and a boldness in yourself in a way that like kind of keeps you up, and it's a form of self-love in that, to have that sort of cultivated. But at the same time, he's also finding within himself this desire to sometimes feel small or like just want to be taken care of at times. And he kind of senses that there's a conflict between those two sort of forces, where there's this sort of independence that's really great to have, and a strength and things that serve him really well that come from that, but with this conflicting desire of to sort of be taken care of. And so it's like, how does he navigate that? And Fubo was like, you just gotta ask people if you can be small around them. Can I be small with you? Can you take care of me for a bit? Just a moment. I don't need it very long. I just want to, there we go. Thank you. And for whatever reason, that hit me just right.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah. It is, it feels really good to me to feel small. And I think it also feels really good for me to be really empowered and independent, and like I can take care of myself too. And so it was great to sort of hear that echoed and validated that you can have both. Maybe not always, sometimes at the same time, maybe not always at the same time, but and there's almost also a strength in being able to ask, hey, can I be small for a second? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was really cool and really touching.
Aw.
Fupo. Shout out to Fupo.
What a great moment with Fubo.
Is it Fupo or Fubo?
Fubo.
Oh my God, it's Fubo. Shout out to Fubo.
Fubo.
Forgive me, Fubo.
You forget.
I'm sure yes, exactly. I forgive exactly.
Yeah, forgive you.
He loves you.
Loves
and
you.
I know it.
He's your
Fubo loves me. Yeah. Yes, I know.
So there's an open mic tonight.
There is.
We're headed over to. What is it called?
I think it's just called Open Mic Night.
It's just Open Mic.
And it's led
by Sage Liskey.
Yeah, by Sage. And it's being hosted at that one bookstore downtown.
Yeah, it's underneath that one bookstore downtown. It's like Broadway.
I like how we're just like totally forgetting business names. I can't remember the Orchard. I can't remember. Yeah,
it's underneath the bookstore. It's like an artist collective down there.
Yeah.
I'm really. I've been down there before, but not for an event. So I'm curious what it will be like for an open mic. And looking forward to checking that out. Are you gonna play a song?
I think I might. Because I've been in such a creative block. There's a reluctance to play something of my own. I was looking through my list of songs that I have, and nothing really was resonating as the right moment for this song kind of idea. So I'm probably going to play a cover.
Okay.
Of a song called Blue Boat Home.
Blue Boat Home.
Which is by Peter Mayer.
Okay, I don't think I've heard it.
Another wonderful lyricist. Very much in my vein of what I want to write about as well. He is incredibly wholesome. He has that great gift of being able to talk about darker things in a positive light at times. And yeah, he's another sort of muse, I would say. Building up to be what
was the name?
Yeah, Peter Mayer, I believe that's his name. And yes, Blue Boat Home, I think he wrote it. Pretty sure he wrote it and not just covering it. I know it's been kind of transformed into almost like a hymn at Unitarian Universalist type churches, which is I don't know if you know what that is or not.
Yeah, for people that don't know, how would you explain that church?
Man. Think of all the really cool people from every religion getting together and trying to make some sort of worship service happen. And also not even from all the religions, also all the people who aren't even in a religion. They might be atheist, but are still really cool, maybe spiritual minded, or just like just wanting to, maybe the humanitarian, whatever it is, a humanist. Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of different just like perspectives on the spiritual path, and they're all trying to get together and help each other find their own way into their own path of that. So, you got people of all sorts of colors and stripes coming together to essentially like affirm life, I would say. I think broadly speaking, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it, I've seen, but their services are very interesting and worth a drop in if you're inclined to that sort of thing. But also, by the way, these grapes and berries are delicious.
Have you been doing the combo of the grape and the blueberry?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I was experimenting with that. And it's so neat, the crossover, because I've got the blueberries here, and then once the blueberries are starting to fade off, the grapes are ready to go. So it's just like a nice seamless transition. And then blackberries, of course, come after the blueberries.
Yeah, blackberries have been wonderful this year.
Yeah. So it's nice to have a smooth transition.
Right.
Not just cut off, like, no more fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
But Blue Boat Home and Peter Mayer, yeah, and Unitarian Universalism. So I'm pretty sure he's kind of an influence musically in that realm.
So not to be confused with Blueberry Boat Home.
Yeah, quite. Not Blueberry Boat Home. So Blue Boat Home is about, oh gosh, it's this wonderful depiction of how the Earth is a boat sailing through the universe.
I like that.
And how we are eternal sailors. We don't know ports or homes in that sense, but we're just always kind of sailing it around through the universe and greeting the vastness of it with and together as a whole humanity moving forward. And yeah, it's great lyrics in that sense, and cool story. Cool thing to describe too, which just kind of like gets you in that space of, oh, I'm small again.
Yeah,
and
we're all in this boat. We better learn how to get along.
Yeah, that too. Absolutely. Got chewing noises in the micro.
Excuse our chewing noises.
Yeah, sorry about that.
These blueberries are so good.
They are.
Yeah, it's a hot one out there. I mean,
it is warm.
90-degree day.
It's warm in here too, a little bit.
A little warm in here. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't have air conditioning on for the podcast. A little too loud. What do you think about doing a jam at the end here?
Yeah,
we could
with you on harmonica?
Yeah, harmonica guitar kind of jam.
Yeah, I do have my guitar here. We could make that happen. I think.
Make that happen?
Yeah, it'd be a nice way to wrap it up.
Yeah, and we can just do a little pause and resume, maybe.
When do you want to do that? You still want to keep going?
I mean, we could do it now.
Okay. How long have we?
What else should we talk about?
That's a great question.
If you have something for us to talk about, please send it over the telepathic airwaves to... That's the address.
Oop.
Send it to
one thing I was thinking about.
Blueberry Lane.
One of the things that happened recently in my life, just to sort of just put this, just inject it into the conversation.
Let's do it.
Yeah, is as you know, I've told you at this point, my grandmother passed away.
I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to actually ask about the celebration of life and the experience with your grandmother.
Yeah. So she lived to be 97. Almost a month later, maybe not so much, maybe like 2 weeks or so that she died after her 97th birthday. And she died really well, I would say. It was in her sleep, in my mother's house, surrounded by family. She was having her hand held as her last breaths were being...
So graceful.
Yeah, incredibly graceful.
Wow.
There was some very... I should preface this saying, I find death to be fascinating. And I find myself kind of curious about people's death experiences and what people sort of grasp from what people are going through when they're dying. One of the things that was happening was what I would call like sudden dreaming. So she would be kind of awake and conscious for a second and would like blink like that, just a little ooh, like that, and apparently would be while she was blinking in a dream, like full-fledged, real as heck dream that something else was going on and things were being different. And then she'd wake up and it would be asking about things that happened in the dream, like, oh, are we still going to the movies or whatever, or something.
Interesting.
Like that. No, Grandma, we don't have any plans to do that kind of thing. Oh, that's right.
Do you think it might have been endogenous DMT release?
Ooh, that's a big thing to be skeptical about.
Yeah.
Something about
Just wonder how that happens.
You know, DMT and death certainly have some interesting correlations, I think. And there's some excuse me, burp, oh my gosh. Interesting theories of the relationship between the two and how DMT can be released in the brain on death or near death and stuff like that. With my own experiences with DMT, it certainly has a dreamlike quality to them, but at the same time, it's very obviously DMT. Now, she's also awake and sort of conscious, and her head's in a way different place, I'm sure, as she's deteriorating, so that could certainly influence that as well, but I don't know. It seems to have that sort of thing so sustained and so like also momentary at times. It seems unlikely that it's purely a DMT thing, but it's still really interesting. It's certainly like a conscious expanding sort of happenstance, I can tell, or not, maybe not expanding, but just sort of like alterating happenstance. So really fascinating to sort of hear that account from folks who were near her when she was dying. I mean, death is a mystery. It's such a huge mystery, which is why I'm so fascinated by it.
You know, for an upcoming interview, I should ask Willow. She's a death doula. I just started helping her with some signs and graphic design and website stuff. She's a local death doula, and I'm really curious to go deeper into that, what that experience is like to do that for people. What an honor and to be trusted with that role.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, I would be so fascinated by that podcast for sure. But yes, she died. And I found myself being very much in a supportive role with my family members. I don't know, something about it's tricky to describe. I didn't find myself crying or being bereft in a way. I'd have like little moments of quiver at the most. Certainly feeling things at times for sure and missing her, but never really being so mourning, bereft, typical things where I'm just like crying a lot and having a moment like that. A lot of other people were. And because maybe I wasn't so much, I was a bit more, I feel very clear-headed about it all. And I think part of it was so because she was so old and she died so well and I had such a great relationship with her. And
you got to go on that Mexico trip with her.
Yeah, I took her when she was 96. So like within the last year of her life, me and my partner took her to Mexico for a week and to near Oaxaca and Mexico City. And
that was a dream of hers, was to go there.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And
so like to give her that within her last year of life too, I didn't feel so sad by that. I felt so relieved and glad that I had been able to do that with her still. So, I had met my head maybe in just such a different space. And, people just mourn differently. That is also just something that's a truth to be told. But, yeah. So I was pretty supportive with my family. Yeah, and then the celebration was wonderful. There was a lot of singing involved. We had made this playlist of a bunch of songs that she wanted played. Some of them like really happy too. I would say stuff like "The Walk of Life" by Dire Straits, and she wanted like a second line New Orleans brass type tune. So we played like "When the Saints Go Marching In" by some band of the sort. And yeah, stuff like that. So that was going on in the background, usually pretty happy stuff. And the celebration was a lot of music as well. She played the harp, really unique instrument. Had been playing the harp since a very young age, even too. She won a talent show contest when she was 12 for playing the harp type thing.
Neat.
This is back in 30, 40 something, right?
What a beautiful instrument. I just love it.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
I love the harp. And I mean, I have a special attachment to the harp at this point too because of Esther, my grandma. So harps are great. I love a harp. And yeah, and she also played the piano, gave lessons at various times to people and all that, and incredibly talented musician. So she ended up being this seed for a lot of musical talent and inspiration in the family. Sort of a very supportive force in the family for making music of all kinds, really. I never found her really shying away from stuff. She was always kind of interested in hearing stuff, even if it wasn't like her thing. She'd still like listen and like give her thoughts on it, and like thoughtfully too, not just like dismiss things. At one time I played her in like an EDM track, something that was you'd like probably hear at a rave, that was like really complex rhythms and weird noises and all this sort of thing. And she was like, "Oh, this is interesting. It sounds like horses galloping at a point and stuff like that." Where it was just like, yeah, okay, so you're getting a kick out of it, I can tell. So big fan of music.
Sounds like, she's got an open mind, or she had an open mind.
She had a pretty open mind.
Yeah.
One of the things I asked about, because I just was thinking about, I was reading a book recently about some like musician biographies, particularly around the New Orleans area. But it got me thinking about the whole race divide, especially with music, back in while segregation was still a thing and whatnot. And it made me think about, I wonder what my own grandparents were like with that. I think of them as pretty accepting people. But there was part of me that was just like, I wonder if they've always been like that. And yes, they've always been like that, actually, for the most part. When it came to race especially, they were like pretty much on top of being really accepting and not treating them as equals and all that. There might have been some things that maybe have come up more in the spotlight in this day and age that she was maybe a bit more unfamiliar with. I don't think she was aggressively bigoted or anything like that, but she was like always trying to understand things, especially when it came to like gender and stuff like that. Pronouns were a thing to just deal with, and I'm like, oh yeah, especially if you've been 90 years into life and all of a sudden people are switching pronouns on you on a regular basis. It's like, whoa, what's happening? So and I can understand how that would be really difficult. So, but like, yeah, on the whole, like really open mind, a lot of curiosity, wanting to make sure she was, at least at the very least, not stepping on any toes and making people comfortable, and whatnot. So yeah, that was interesting to sort of hear as well, that she had been doing that for a long time as well. So, yeah. So I don't know. Back to the celebration, I guess.
Yeah, sounds like she was just a wonderful human being.
She was. Yeah, she was a lovely woman.
Yeah.
Got a lot of praises for that, especially too, and seemed to be like a second grandmother to people who had otherwise not the best grandmothers in their life, or maybe absent grandmothers or what have you. So, yeah, there's a lot of great connections with that. Yeah, and I think I'll just highlight one more moment from the celebrations where she had been in a band, my grandmother, like a Celtic folk band called Heritage Strings. It was harp and hammer dulcimer and a few other string instruments. And at the celebration of life, one of the musicians from that group came on stage to say a few words. And we learned that when that person who came up to speak, their father had died like 10 years ago. And they were... that father figure was apparently a big musical influence on them. And they felt like they couldn't play music much more after that. It didn't feel right to them. Felt like it was doing him a wrong or something like that. But then, come the celebration for Esther, we're all playing music. She's got a lot of great music coming on the speakers, and we're performing our own stuff for her. And she sees this and gets a new perspective on how you can celebrate someone with music, and has decided now, after 10 years of not playing any music, to pick her instrument back up and play again.
So
it was that was incredibly moving and inspiring to see that happening, because it's like, oh, the seeds just keep going even after death. There, the love just keeps happening. So,
man,
really happy to see that and hear that. I'm so glad she shared that too as well with us. It's beautiful. So, yeah, really great experience on the whole. Seriously, it was a proper send-off. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think it's time for us to have a proper send-off.
Yeah.
Into a jam coming up next here on the Bonbons Nook podcast with Applecore. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Bonbons Nook podcast, here with Applecore on the guitar and me, Sean Bonbon, on the harmonicas. We'll see what we get.
Yeah.
It's an impromptu jam. We got some capo action happening.
Yeah. I tune my guitar down a half step, so it's not in standard E tuning, it's in standard E flat tuning.
Also got a slide if you want to.
Man, I haven't played with one of those in a while.
You got to do open tuning with them. Yeah.
You tend to need to, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. What key you think?
Oh, you just picked up A.
A?
A? Oh, A.
A for Applecore?
A for Applecore. A is for Applecore. That's good enough for me. Oh, let's see. So I do want to play an April. Play that.
Just feeling your grandmother's spirit with us there at the end.
Aww. Oh, that little harp notes at the end. Sure, I like that. Oh, I love that idea.
I'm not used to playing the harmonica on the mic. Like I'm used to our jams where we're just going by ear. It's different. It's throwing me a little off. So I'm having to learn. It's like trial by fire. But it's fun. It's a good experience. Yeah, I love what you're playing too. That was great. It's awesome. How's the mic placement? You think pretty good?
It's pretty good.
Good enough.
I wasn't really singing, so
yeah.
This is a song about apple core. Apple core is my name.
Here, look at the other mic.
Apple core is my name, and maybe I'm not aiming really for fame. I just wanna be a good guy. I wanna play my guitar like I can fly across the fretboard. Yeah, like a fretboard, like a piece of board with a string across it, yeah, buddy, oh yeah. Yeah, my name Apple Core. I play guitar, among other things.
Apple Core, thank you very much. Here on the Bonbons Nook podcast. And next up, another jam, perhaps. What key? Maybe change the key?
Ooh, yes. Pick a key.
How about C?
For core.
C for core, A for apple, C for core. Here on the Bonbons Nook podcast. More jams.
Wait a minute. So, here we go. Well, life's feeling pretty good right now, if I say so myself. Life's feeling really grand right now, and I hope it's safe for you. We're prancing along, jamming along in the sunshine and the window pane, a roof on our heads, trees in the yard, berries on the table for you and I, keeping it simple, keeping it true, me and you. Well, thank you so much for having me on the Bonbons Nook podcast. It's been grand and really fun. I hope you come around again and listen for the spin. You're gonna have a real good time if you listen in. I know I'm having fun right now, and you're having fun right now, and we're all just having a real good time at the Nook, 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 Nook. A Nook, Nook, Nook. Ya bum, Nook, Nook, Nook. Bon, bon, this Nook.
Julian, that was amazing. Thank you so much for being here on Bonbon's Nook and doing those jams with me.
Of course, my pleasure.
I love your improv songwriting abilities. You are able to... I've not met anyone with the ability you have to instantly start creating a song about what's happening in the room in such a way that's not cheesy, but actually like good.
Oh,
you know, like it's
gosh,
not,
okay.
It's actually
good. I'm glad it's not cheesy.
No, it's not cheesy. I mean, at times maybe a little bit, but it's part of the fun.
Yeah,
of it,
right,
know?
Sure.
But it's a controlled cheese.
A controlled cheese, like canned cheese. You just push the nozzle,
Yeah.
just enough. You know?
Yeah.
We got this cheese under control.
Yeah, this cheese is under control. And that brings us to our sponsor, Canned Cheese Under Control.
Ooh.
Sourced from family farms, non-factory farms. We've figured out a way to put high-quality cheese into a can.
Yes, these cows get excellent massages on a regular basis. They get to live any lifestyle of their choosing.
Oh, I love
and
that.
they die only of natural causes.
Where can I get this?
You can get it if you dial 772-468-384Q.
Extension 4242.
And then you speak to Mr. Ted.
Mr. Ted will take care of your cheese in a can
Canned cheese
needs.
yes.
From local family farms only.
From massage cows
Massaged
that
cows.
live any lifestyle they want before dying of natural
Oh,
causes.
I love that. We brought it back to massage. It's perfect.
Gotta massage the cows, man. Make the good cheese.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's time to go to the open mic, and in a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, sounds good. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for being here.
This has been a real pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure for me. Thank you for getting me back on the podcast train. I haven't put out one in a month and a half or more. This will get me back.
Good.
Back and rolling.
Yeah. Talk to Willow too. Man, I can't
Yeah.
wait for that one.
Hopefully we'll have Willow.
Willa.
We'll have Willow on a future podcast talking about being a death doula and what that's about. It'd be really fascinating.
Yeah. Cool.
So, with that said, for those that are listening this far, thanks so much for your time. And I'm here with Apple Core, regular guest on the Bonbons Nook podcast. This is the second appearance of many more. You have a song to take us out?
Well, goodbye.